Okay, so what if the happiest day of your life completely imploded, and it was all orchestrated by your own son? We're going to break down this unbelievable wedding story where a massive family meltdown uncovers a secret that, well, it changes absolutely everything. So this is the moment. The dream just shatters. I mean, picture this. You're at the altar, you've got 400 guests watching, and the most painful, cruel insults, they're not coming from some random stranger. Nope, they're coming from your own son sitting right there in the front row. But, and this is the big twist, there was this one massive secret that her son, and actually his entire family, had absolutely no clue about. Yeah, you heard that right. The man they were publicly shaming, calling a pauper, he was secretly one of the wealthiest men in the entire country. So how on earth did this all happen? Let's get into it. All right, so let's set the scene with the disaster itself. Meet Ellie. She's 61, and for 15 long, lonely years, she's been a widow. But now she's finally found love again with a man named Eli. And to celebrate, she poured every single cent of her life savings into making this one day absolutely perfect. This was her second chance at happiness. So the ceremony starts, and everything is just picture perfect. But that perfection gets totally shattered almost instantly by these loud, mocking whispers. And where are they coming from? The front row. From her own son, Darius, and his wife, Tasha. That's the first jab. It comes from Tasha, and it's loud enough for Ellie to hear it right there at the altar. This tells you everything you need to know about them, right? It's all about money and status. In their eyes, Ellie is marrying way, way beneath her. And it doesn't stop there. The contempt just keeps coming. They're openly making fun of Eli's simple suit, his whole appearance, totally blind to the actual man standing right in front of them. It's so clear that for them, looks and money are the only things that matter, period. Okay, so this is the point where the quiet little whispers just explode into a full-blown public spectacle. I mean, it's almost like it was designed to humiliate Ellie on what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. So get this, her son, Darius, he actually stands up, champagne glass in hand, and says this out loud for all 400 guests to hear. He calls Eli a nobody, accuses him of being a gold digger, and basically turns the entire wedding into a complete circus. But that was it. At that moment, something inside Ellie just snaps. She turns and confronts her son, and she just lays it all out. A lifetime of her sacrifice versus his staggering ingratitude. You know, she'd worked 12-hour days cleaning houses for him, only for him to turn around and charge her interest on a loan. And the real kicker, he bought a Rolex right after telling her he couldn't help pay for her surgery. Just wow. And this is her moment. Fueled by a whole lifetime of being taken for granted, Ellie finds this strength she probably didn't even know she had. She looks right at her son, his wife, and their entire sneering family, and kicks every single one of them out. But believe it or not, the trauma wasn't over. Not by a long shot. In fact, the biggest bombshell of the entire day was still to come. A secret that would completely reframe this whole story. So that brings us to the big question. Who is this man they called trash? Who is Eli Vance? This quiet, modest guy who just calmly stood there and took this storm of insults from people, judging him on a simple gray suit and his calloused hands. $2 billion. Yep, the man they just called a bum, a pauper, has a net worth of over $2 billion. Turns out, he's the founder of one of the largest real estate firms in the entire region. I mean, the irony here, it's just off the chart. So why the whole charade? Well, after his first wife passed away, Eli started to feel like his immense wealth was just poisoning all of his relationships. So he made a choice. He started living modestly as a kind of personal test, hoping to find someone, anyone, who would love him for his character, not for his bank account. And Ellie? She passed that test with flying colors, without ever even knowing she was taking it. And his backstory is just remarkable. This guy started out as a bricklayer, saved every penny, and built a real estate empire from the ground up. But then tragedy struck, and it made him realize that all that money couldn't buy real happiness. So his search for something real, something genuine, that's what led him straight to Ellie. Okay, now for the fallout, for the consequences. Because after Darius finds out the truth about the man he just publicly humiliated, his own life, which turns out was built on a house of cards, all debt and deception, it just begins to unravel fast. And the collapse was swift and it was brutal. Turns out, Darius had been living a total lie, funding this lavish lifestyle with mountains of debt. After the wedding fiasco, his business partners bailed, creditors started calling in their loans, and his wife, Tasha, she filed for divorce and took the kids. And this right here, this tells you everything you need to know about Darius's character. So after he finds out the truth, do you think he calls his mom to apologize? Nope, not a chance. He immediately starts texting Eli. He wasn't sorry for what he did, he was sorry for the misunderstanding, as in, he misunderstood that Eli was rich. And then, he had the nerve to say that Eli had a moral obligation to give him $500,000? Unbelievable. So, now Darius has hit rock bottom. And the question is there any hope for him? Is it even possible for someone to truly change after a lifetime of that kind of materialism and entitlement? Well, Ellie finds Darius living in this rundown, sad little apartment. He's completely broken and he just begs her for a bailout. But in this incredible act of strength, of real tough love, she says no money. Instead, she offers him legal help so he can actually face the consequences of what he's done. A choice that must have been so painful for her, but one that was absolutely necessary. And you know what? That tough love, it actually works. Fast forward 6 months, and a totally changed Darius appears on a local news report. He finally gets it. He understood that by letting him fall, by refusing to bail him out, his mother had given him the one thing money could never buy, a real chance to learn how to stand on his own 2 feet. Yeah, he didn't get a handout, he actually did the work. He took a job in construction, of all things, started giving talks to others about financial literacy, and began this slow, probably painful, but very honest process of rebuilding his relationship with his mother one weekly phone call at a time. So when you boil it all down, this whole crazy story really asks one simple question, doesn't it? What is the true price of respect? Is it something you can buy, like a Rolex you wear on your wrist? Or is it something you have to earn with your character, especially when you think no one important is watching? I think the story gives us a pretty powerful answer to that.